Today we're going to do a building exercise for taller succulents. And here's what you'll need. This is pretty key. This bevel tool that comes in standard cheapo clay kits. I use this a lot. I have my assortment of ball tools. Never know when you're going to need those, and I always keep a much smaller ball tool to get in nooks and crannies and manipulate things. We've got a mud ball of clay, you know, those scrap ends, whatever you've got. It doesn't matter what color it is, you won't see it. We're going to cover it with a triangle cane, not necessarily a leaf cane. If you'd like to see a tutorial on how to make this cane, drop me a comment down below and let me know you'd like to see that, and I'll bump it up the line of tutorials. For now, you can use any triangle shape. I suggest that when you start learning how to do this, maybe use a solid color. Make a triangle shape out of your solid color, and instead of using scrap clay for your base, use the same solid color. And that way, if it doesn't come out the way you like it and you need more practice, you can mush it all together guilt-free and start completely over like it never happened. And that way you don't ruin any canes. I'll be using this one, and like I said, if you'd like to see it, put a comment down there. Here's that sherry glass again. I like to work on that, especially for these, because now when I'm sculpting, I want to be able to see all the way around. I like being able to pick it up and move it around, even turn it upside down if I want to. And I'll help you see things too. You can find these at any flea market, thrift store, Salvation Army store, any Goodwill yard sale for about $1 a piece. They're handy. Alright, that's what you need. Oh, and your handy dandy tissue blade. Okay, let's get started. We're going to take our triangle cane, and not the thickest slice, not the thinnest slice. There we go. This is what we're looking at. See that? Let's go in there and get not too fat, or it won't bend in half. If you get it too thin when you use your bevel tool, it will cut it in half. Okay, so that's about the thickness we want for our slices. We're going to do something else that you see me do a lot of times. I hate these sharp edges on here. We want to get rid of those right away. So all I do is I use this thumb as support, and I only push with this one. So this one's not doing any pinching, it's just supporting on the bottom, and I push against that 90-degree edge to round it in. Bottom thumb's just being support. As you can see, that doesn't change the shape a lot. Bevels the edge nicely. Flip it over, do the same thing. Both sides. You hold it out again. You can make any adjustments. I'm not trying to make this irregular or change the shape. Come up here, put the tip in, slide out the fingerprints on the top. Now we're going to set it on that finger. We're going to grab our bevel tool, set it in the top, line it up along that center, and now just gently roll it in there just the once. It makes a little trough. Now you can work the edges of that trough in, put a point in that tip. See what you've got? Okay, so I'll show you that again. Come in, thumb on the bottom for support, and then just press that edge out. Very nice. come up, get the tip, smear out some fingerprints if they're there on the top. You won't see the underside. Alright, line that up. One roll. Just want to put a dent in the top of the clay. It's kind of like putting a release in cardboard. It allows you to fold it. Pinch that tip. Alright. So, as with all my projects, this involves a lot of pre-shaping. So you want to go ahead and smash the edges down and put that crease in for all your pieces. And as you're working, this will take you a little bit of time. I always say let them rest. They'll rest because by the time you get done making enough pieces, the other ones have cooled off and set there enough. So go ahead and pre-shape all your pieces, and then we'll come back and show you how to put it on a base. Okay, so now we're going to take our ball of scrap clay and we're going to make it into a cone. Get it fairly thin at the top and leave it chunky towards the bottom. It's looking pretty good. I don't worry about the bottom, but I'm not trying to make this part real thin. We want this to stand up. Now I'm just going to take my tissue blade. I want to cut it off so it's flat on the bottom. And now if you're using wax paper, you would stick it to your wax paper so you can spin it around, move it, pick it up if you need to. I don't need to do that. I'm going to use my sherry glass. I'll stick it right on there. Okay. So now you have this cone. I'm pushing on it a little bit. I'm making it a little chubbier. I'm going to shape this as I go. It doesn't matter what this looks like. But this is the inside now of our plant. And it's going to lift and add height where before we were only stacking them flat. Now we can add some height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first leaf and I'm going to bend it so it's more of a cone shape. My focus is going all wonky with that glass. There we go. See the cone? And then what I'm going to do is attach that to the tip. I'm squeezing some of the clay up around that. I just want that to stand up nice and straight at the top of my wedge. See? There you go. Alright. So that is now the center. Now I'm going to take 5 of these and I'm going to start placing them a little bit below where this one starts. You don't want to see any of that gray. Just wrap it right around there and bend it out. I'm going to take the next one and we're going for that 5-point star look again. So when I put the next one down, I'm going to put it more towards the midline of the one behind. Overlap. Wrap it around. 2. Curl it out a little bit. 3. Find that center line. Wrap it around. 3. Same thing, center line, 4, and my last one. Okay, 5. Okay, so there's what you have. Now, me pushing and whatever is scrunch this down, and I still want it to be taller, so I'm just going to use wedge fingers and push around until I raise the height. I'm not making it skinnier, I raised the height. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab 5 more And now this time, we're going to put the points coming up through the negative space. So, another 5-point star, but this time the points are going to come out in between the layer we just put on. Now, so when you come down here, you start just below this one. About at that midline. See how that end comes down? Push it in there. Attach it to that base. Okay? And we're going to do that all the way around. So that one's in between these two. Next one wants to come up in between here. So for pleasing shaping, you want to get, it doesn't quite matter where the base of that lines up. You want to make sure that when you stick it on there, the tip comes up in that negative space. There we go, 2. Next one has to come up in between here. Alright, I do not like how this one is on here at all. 1. There we go. Got to get it up high enough so that the scrap clay doesn't peek out along your stem. Okay. Get that next one in there. See how this glass lets me tip things so I can see where I'm working. And when I set it down, it's still attached to the base. There's another one. That's 4. The last one to come up in between there. See? Nice and tall. We have room for one more layer of 5 down here. Do that real quick. So, it's getting a little tricky to see under there. As you can see, I can tip my sherry glass right over. You could probably work on top of a baby food jar. I'm sure there's other things you could do to be able to lift and move. This is just what worked for me. 1. 2. 3. 'So this isn't hard at all. Once you have all your pre-shaping done. And there is number 5. I'm loving how that looks, even with the tilt off to the side, because now what you can do is you can make a whole separate one of these. Maybe only make the top and 2 layers, so it's a little shorter. Cut it off at this base and attach it to the side and make a cluster of plants. There's lots of things you can do with this build method. You just leave it right on that base, curl your leaves a little bit to mess with it, and there you have a very tall, majestic succulent.